Hi, I'm Trent Ellis, Underwater Director of Photography. Today I'm prepping and building the Gates housing for the Sony FX6. The gear includes the housing body, the SP60-200 stackable port ring, the SP60 glass dome port, the Sony FX6 camera with LCD screen, tools, the Sony 16-35 G Master 2 lens, the lens gear drive system, trim weights, and seal check system. I'm going to get started by prepping the camera body first. Set the switches on the lens and camera body. The lens should be switched to autofocus. The camera body should be switched to manual focus. Pressing and holding the push auto button will engage autofocus and is accessible through the housing. You should also set the gain and white balance switch on the left side of the camera. Long press the menu button to access the camera's menu. The menu is accessible through the housing, but I prefer to go through the camera settings before installing the camera into the housing. If you're planning on using autofocus, go through the focus menu. These are some settings that I've had success with. Because I shoot this camera in log, I'm going to turn on the monitor LUT and make sure the internal recording of the LUT is off. Next, let's go through and program the assignable buttons. You can assign buttons 1, 2, 3, and 9. Here are some recommended assignables. 4 through 8 are on the top handle and side grip, which are not on the camera in the housing. Next, you'll program the multifunction dial. Without the side grip and top handle, this is how you'll control iris on lenses without a geared iris ring. Now that you're happy with camera settings, it's time to strip down the camera. Remove the side grip and top handle, as well as any other accessories attached to the camera. Next, prepare the housing. Ports and stackable port rings should be removed before the camera is installed into the housing. Release the locking pin on the stackable port ring and then rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise to remove. Release the top and side locking latches. Then pull the rear shell of the housing away. At the rear of the housing, rotate the lever to unlock the camera mount adapter, then slide and remove the adapter. With the 5/32 hex driver, fasten the camera mount adapter to the top of the camera body. Slide the monitor clamp onto the post on the camera mount adapter until it reaches the stop ring. Rotate the monitor until it aligns with the bracket, then fully tighten the clamp. Route the monitor cable along the right side of the camera body. Before installing the camera, make sure the assigned control knobs are pulled out. Insert the camera mount adapter into the dovetail until it reaches the stop. Then rotate the lock arm fully clockwise all the way forward. Install the rear shell, taking care not to pinch any cables. The rear shell should slide freely without obstruction. Close the two side locking latches together, and then the top. Before installing the lens and lens gear drives, power on the camera and test the function of all buttons, knobs, and levers. This housing was designed for both Sony E-mount lenses and compact cinema lenses. Today I'm working with the 16-35 G Master 2. Install flex gear rings onto the lens if it does not already have integrated gears. With the flex gears installed, mount the lens to the camera. The lens gear drives are made up of 4 main parts: the swivel base, the belt drive bracket, the guide bar, and the drive shaft. Start by installing a counterclockwise swivel base as seen here. Then install a guide bar that will reach the gear that you're targeting. In this case, I'm targeting the gear closer to the camera, so I'm using a short guide bar. Same goes for the drive shaft. Select a length that will reach the gear that you're targeting. Back out the set screw, slide the drive shaft in, and then tighten the set screw. Slide the belt drive bracket onto the guide bar and drive shaft. Align the drive tooth with the groove on the drive shaft. As you can see here, the lens gearing is too deep and it's not lining up. This is easily fixed by moving the gear on the belt drive to the other side of the belt drive. With the belt drive reinstalled, the gearing now aligns. Loosen the swivel base, engage the gears, and then retighten the swivel base. Test the gearing and make sure everything is functioning well. With the first lens gear drive installed successfully, repeat this process on the next. The lens gear drive above the first one will be clockwise. On the other side of the lens will be counterclockwise. Before reinstalling the stackable port rings, we'll want to grease and clean the O-ring. Apply a pea-sized dollop of grease to the O-ring and pull the O-ring through your finger, spreading the grease and removing any debris. Reinstall the O-ring. Engage the locking pin. Press the port extension ring and rotate 90 degrees clockwise until you hear a click. Repeat this process with the port. Remove the O-ring, apply grease, spread the grease and clean any debris from the O-ring. Install the port by pressing and rotating 90 degrees until you feel the hard stop. Next, we'll install the left and right handle grips. Slide the handles onto the dovetail. Use the thumb screws to secure the handle grips to the housing. You can place the handle grips in several different positions forward and aft of the housing. This housing comes with a number of 8 and 4-ounce trim weights. The trim weights can be mounted in two ways, with a dovetail mount as seen here, the dovetail mount can also be removed. Once removed, the weight can be mounted to the weight bosses located throughout the housing. Included with the housing is the seal check light. In the kit is a hand pump, hose, and gauge to verify seal integrity. To use the system, connect the hand pump to the hose, and then the hose to the seal check fitting located on the rear shell. With this housing, you'll pump about 30 times. Disconnect the hose and connect the vacuum gauge. You want the vacuum to reach about 100 millibar. Once the gauge settles, make sure the number is not dropping. This looks like a good vacuum, with no leaks. I'll also check the housing right before I get in the water to just double check the vacuum and make sure I'm good to go. It's important that you always keep the plug inserted when not using the seal check system. Now all you have left to do is get the housing in the water and trim it out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.